Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Year to Shine. This is our 2021 journey together, and right now I'm continuing our discussion on Laurie McCammon's book, Enough. And I have a kitty co-host in the background here that might make herself visible. She's kind of like playing around, and I'm down on her level this morning. We're just waking up still. Hope you're doing well. Yep, here she is. That's Annabelle, my kitty. So I've been thinking so much about the topic of enough as we've been discussing this, and I'm glad to see in the most recent video about the book that you guys have been commenting that it is also resonating with you, all these various discussions that we're having. And I've been observing some things, and sort of a tie-in with yesterday's money video. Remember how last summer when I shared my whole budgeting plan of like how I came up with how much do I need every month and when do things run out? Like I told you that I started putting dates on things to see like how long does this lotion last? And before I did that, I used to have this feeling whenever something ran out, like even just toothpaste or like something in the shower. It's funny because it seemed like a lot of them would run out at the same time, and I just it manifested this or it perpetuated this feeling of like, oh no, I'm running out, there's not enough. And if you've been on the fence about trying to come up with a system and be more organized with your finances and shopping and even meal planning and things like that, I think that you would find, and this is like an observation that I just had today when I had a couple things that ran out, but then I knew I had more in the cupboard. I think you will find that it takes away that discomfort of worrying that you don't have enough, and also the chaos of not having planned for replenishing something. So my comfort level that I realize that I've come to is, so like one of the things that ran out today was just this cream that I get. And I knew I always have an extra one. So now that I know that I just moved that one into now the drawer, and then I'm going to pick up another one. But I'm not out of it. So it's not this urgency. And also, you know that I've totally planned for my budget. So I'm also not worried about like, oh, I don't know if I should buy that right now because what if I run out of money? Well, guess what? I know that I made this whole plan for myself. So that's been coming to my mind. And just an observation this morning when I moved that cream over. Also, in terms of thoughts and what feels good to think and what doesn't feel good to think, we've talked about the power of thoughts and how that can definitely change what you're seeing. And it can sort of determine what sort of vibration you're in and how you're feeling about life. If your thoughts are continuously negative, then you're not going to feel good, right? That seems to be sort of a given. But I was thinking, the not enough story, that doesn't feel good, right? The enough story feels good. It has this safety behind it. Probably because it's more in line with the fact that we talked about, like in nature, there's plenty. It's like if we didn't even mess with all the systems that we were given, then we would always have enough. And if we didn't live in this weird societal way that we do where we are keeping score and trading money and resources and things like that, then there wouldn't be that not enough feeling. Except, here's another thing. This could be a good discussion. I was also thinking, isn't there always an opposite to whatever there is? So say we got to this, and I don't know if Laurie's going to discuss this later because I haven't totally finished the book, but say we got to the point that she seems to be wanting us to move towards, where we live in this world where everybody believes there's enough, and we've sort of like abolished the not enough story. What do you think? Because I was thinking about this and I thought, isn't there always like cause and effect? Isn't there always like, for a good there's a bad, for a tired there's an awake? I mean, isn't there usually those ends of the spectrum. So even if we all got to a state of enoughness, wouldn't there still be a not enough that existed? Although maybe it would be like sickness and wellness. Like, you don't always think about how you're well, but when you're sick, you're definitely aware that you're sick. So if you're well, yes, sickness still, oh, sorry, she's showing off. Sickness still exists, but you're just not putting attention on it. All right, so as I'm saying this to you now, perhaps it's like what we talked about in the most recent Enough entry about when you put your attention on something, then that's what perpetuates. So maybe the not enough story would still exist, like we would know it was out there, but since we were not putting our attention on it, or our experience was that of so much enoughness that it wouldn't even matter that existed. Same, I guess, with like the sickness and well. It's like you only really are, well, you might be afraid you're gonna get sick, but like you're not really in the essence of sickness until you like really are sick. Of course, now that I'm saying that, sorry, this is just like a free flow of thoughts, but like there is a gradient, I suppose, of like, oh no, I'm getting sick. Oh, I wonder if I'm getting sick. Oh, I better take vitamin C, I'm getting sick. Oh, and then I'm sick. So maybe there's like a progression of that. So is that inevitable? Like once we got to the enough place, would we always be sort of worried that we would get to that not enough place? Those are just some of my thoughts as I've been really considering the not enough topic. Let me know your thoughts if this is bringing up some things. I have a couple things to say today. So how do we block receiving what we really want? We've talked about the fact that if you don't believe that there's enough, that you're just going to keep perpetuating that not enough story. So that would be a way of blocking it. If you're going to have, I haven't even really talked about upstream or downstream thoughts. Like in Abraham Hicks' teachings, like I've mentioned a few times, we go towards the goodness when we just flow down the river. But the human way seems to always be like paddling upstream. It's like, I'm not going to succeed unless I have this terrible story of hard work and overcoming and climbing the mountain and everything. When really it's like if we drop the oars, and we've talked about like letting go, letting God, we just dropped the oars and went downstream. It's like everything we want is downstream. There's nothing that we even want that's upstream. So in terms of thoughts, like sometimes in my journal, if I'm struggling with like, why is something not working out, or why am I feeling so paralyzed by this situation or something, I write down all my thoughts and I give it like an up arrow or a down arrow. And it's not always easy, because sometimes when you're really predominantly in the downstream thoughts, or I mean upstream thoughts, because in this case downstream is good, upstream is bad. When you're constantly like all your thoughts are sort of like against the grain, if you will, then it's harder to turn around and just let go. But it's important to be aware of those things. And Laurie goes into a similar concept of like, that is a lot of times what's blocking us from getting what we want, because we're going about it the wrong way. You know, we're kind of like going against making it easy. Like it just should naturally be easy. So she gives an example of a not enough statement. I don't have enough money to go back to school to become a teacher. Well, why? Because my house and car payments are too high. Well, why? Because I bought a house and a car that were outside of my budget. Well, why? Because I thought it would make me happy and fulfilled, so I did it. Well, why? Because I thought having those things was a source of happiness. We talked about that, right? Why? Because I wasn't happy with me. Exactly. Why? Because what I really want, what I really need is to be happy with me, and that's to follow my calling to be a teacher. So it's like this huge circle of like, yeah. Well, what have I learned by this exercise? That what I know would truly make me happy is to follow my dream to become a teacher. Since my house and car have not brought me the sense of fulfillment I thought it would, I can choose to let go of them or downsize in order to do whatever I have to do to pursue my dream. What about that? I think in America especially, we hold on to our things so strongly that we don't want to let go. And I mean, I can think of my own life. Here I am in this tiny place, and it was so hard for me to let my other place go, which was so out of my budget. And it was a huge change, and now I'm on the other end. It took a long time. It's been over 3 months now since I've been here, and it's like I'm finally going like, all right, I can see the positive of why I did this, and it is positively affecting me now, and it feels a lot better than before. But for this person asking the question, like, of giving away their car, or, you know, making changes with the car and the house, that's a big change. But when you do think about the fact that it would be bringing you towards what you do really want, which is in this case to become a teacher, that would be a choice to make. And when we talk about our budget in terms of things like that, when you sit down to evaluate, you might realize, yeah, I don't need all these subscriptions, or maybe it is time for me to move, or maybe I need to sell this car that still has some equity in it and just buy a car in cash that might last me in the next couple of years while I save for a better one. You know, there's a lot to that, but it's about making decisions. So she says, I invite you now to fill in the sentence, I don't have enough blank, and then try running it through those whys, like, well, why is that? Well, how come that is? And, you know, how we went through that progressive questioning. What did you discover about the underlying reason why you might not seem to have enough? An exercise like this can help us not only identify the hidden abundance in our lives, the leverage for getting what we really want, but also discern this type of abundance that would bring us the most satisfaction. So, like, the abundance of being a teacher and doing what that person loved would be like the simple abundance of things, right? The 5 whys may alternately help us to discover that we have not yet fully committed to ourselves and our own passions. We either have not felt worthy, not enough, in other words, or we are holding on to other life commitments instead. So, like this idea of I have to have the house and I have to have the nice car because people are going to see me in it, and then that's a part of my worth. Yeah. Here's a statement too that I found was interesting. My enough is not the same as your enough. What do you think that means? That everybody has a different standard of enoughness? As the 5 whys exercise demonstrate, it takes a significant amount of courage not only to examine our thinking, but also to claim it in the real world as our truth. When we examine our thinking through the 5 whys, we often find that considering the, quote, unthinkable is the doorway to our freedom. In our example, the unthinkable was the consider downsizing in order to afford tuition. Yeah, it seems like, oh, I could never do that. But then when you think about it, like when I think about how I didn't think I could live in a small place and sell my stuff, and it just all seemed overwhelming, well, now I'm better off for it, but it was hard, you know. By feeling the truth of how much becoming a teacher means, this person in the example came to the realization that it was worth the temporary blow of her self-image and lifestyle to make whatever changes necessary to pursue her true calling. She feels into the sense of the rightness in the decision. So it's like if she were to examine becoming a teacher in that upstream, downstream example, it's probably very much a downstream of like, yeah, I want to be a teacher. Like, it's down there waiting for me. Like, I have to make these choices. I have to let go in order to get there. Yeah. We talked about letting go a lot in our Simple Abundance year. What is she doing? She's just being all over this video. The turnaround is when we discover that we can at any time make something something that we already have. Wait, hold on. The turnaround is when we discover that we can at any time trade something that we already have for something that we want even more. Right. So it's determining how much do I want to become a teacher in this instance. Is it worth it to me? Could I live back with my parents, or live in an RV or something. I don't know. Like, how could you do it? Like, if you really want to do it. I remember when I was starting my business and I had to go through an interview process as a franchisee. And I remember saying to them, like, I don't even care if I make a living doing this. I just really want to do it. Like, that's how badly I wanted to do it. I think I should have been more specific and wanted to make a living in the long run doing it. But I'm just using that as an example. What do you want? You want some treats, don't you? She needs some treats. She's now addicted to treats. Since a friend of mine gave her treats for Christmas, and now she wants them every day, and I happen to be out of them, and so she's feeling the not enoughness of the treats, which I am going to be getting today. And I haven't been used to getting them, so they're not on my regular replenishment, but now I'll be getting 2 things of treats so that I don't have that not enough feeling, and that Annabelle doesn't have that not enough feeling. Only when we believe we are enough will we allow ourselves to have enough. Think about that. That is true. If you sat in this whole thing of like, oh, I don't have enough money to be a teacher in that instance, you are in some terms saying that you're not worthy of having what you want, because you're holding on to these other things that in the long run don't even matter to you as much as what you want. Wow. It's like mind-blowing, isn't it? But it's so simple at the same time. By enough, I don't mean the generic version of enough that is defined by someone else. When you realize the world has an investment in each of us being all that we can be and having what we need to fulfill our unique mission, you will no longer think of it as selfish to put yourself first and put your enough first. You'll be able to relax into the truth that your enough can and should be different from anyone else's enough. So that's back to the statement that she said, my enough is not the same as your enough. Well, that's because we talked about the different perceptions. We all come from a different place. We all look at things differently. And maybe this person wants to be a teacher. I have no desire to be a teacher. But maybe I want to go and dance ballet or do something like that. And I just keep talking myself out of it because of all these stupid things that don't even mean anything when it comes down to it. Why am I not getting what I want? This is another reason why I'm not getting what I want, because I'm holding on to things that mean less to me than what I even want. What do you think about that? Again, it's so simple, but we all do it. And I like how she says that the world has an investment in having us do the things that we want to do and bringing forth a mission and a gift. That's very much in line with simple abundance too, because we talked about that and how important that is to living a simply abundant life when you are sharing your gifts and pursuing things that bring you joy. The expectations of others come to mean less and less as you start to live in this enough way. Ironically, when you follow your own definition of enough, you boost the chance that you will end up giving maximum value to the world. I love those topics from today. It's just making me think more and more. Let me know what you're thinking. I hope this is really hitting home with you and having you think about what really matters. Yeah. Hope you're having a great weekend, and I will see you soon for another video as we continue our enough journey. And I am trying to plan it so that this enough story ends with our end of the month. So we have a few more days to January. Take care, and I'll see you soon.